Testing, testing. Yeah.
But we're just trying to control over because
Yeah.
these like heavy downpours.
I know. Yeah.
You can't. We're just trying to figure out. We also have a heavily shaded lots with a lot of trees.
Yeah, but they're at least soaking that water up.
Yes.
Yeah. So it could be worse. Right.
That's right. It could be worse.
So I did a dry creek bed in an area of my backyard that the backyard does this, the house is here, and then that's where all the water went. So every time it rained, I had this river running through stream running through the backyard. And I basically covered it up in those rocks. And
What's that? Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Village of Marvin Parks, Recreation, and Greenways Board meeting here on Tuesday, November 1st at 9:03 a.m. I do determine that we do have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Any questions or changes anyone requests? Okay, do I hear a motion on the table to adopt the agenda as it is written?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Item number 3 is the adoption of the previous minutes, which came in our package. Any questions, changes, or amendments to the minutes as they are written?
Nope.
Do I hear a motion on the table to adopt the previous minutes as they are written?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Public comment period, and I don't see any public, so no comment. Moving on to item B is public facility managers update.
All right, good morning.
As the public facilities manager, what's the word? Recovered, yes, that's the word.
Friday was pretty crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to dive straight into the trick or treat event. I'm going to let you guys as a board decide how you want to sift through and break down if you just want to take notes. I have a write-up I wrote, so I didn't forget anything. Kim, you missed it. Man.
You told me I could.
Yeah.
I did have permission. I didn't ask
So-
for forgiveness.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna read this summary. All right, the trick or treat at the park event was a mixed bag. Let me start with the positives. We had we had an incredible turnout. Record number of people came to the park for the event. Staff did a great job planning the overall vision of the event and prepping everything from the logistics to the facility. The big field was roped off. The light trailer was picked up. We did have a decent amount of vendors. We could definitely use more. The bounce house was a hit. We need a bigger and/or more bounce house. We need to hire bounce house staff. The McAdams feedback station was a huge success, and the library their vendor station was popular. They said that they had over 500 people come through. All the vendors said it was an incredible event. The deputies saved the day, literally. Had we not had them directing traffic for people to cross the street, it would have been a disaster. All right, the negatives. The layout of the park is very bad for this event if it's to be done utilizing the big field. I don't really have another option for something of this magnitude. You can't park cars there, so that side of the park needs to be event or foot traffic used, or otherwise it's just not utilized. The park is simply not built for that many people. Parking was a disaster. Staff was constantly inventing parking spots all night long. The cars were backed out onto Newtown Road off and on for 3 hours. Keep in mind that the park really only has 85 parking spaces before we have to use the grass. And that can only be done in dry conditions. Thankfully, it was very, very dry because we used every single square inch of grass that was not foot traffic. We made an error in advertising the time of the event, and that's on me. Many people showed up after 7 wanting to trick or treat, and they were sad to learn that the vendors had all packed up and there was no more candy. So potentially, if we do the event next year, maybe we start it earlier or look at shifts. Many people ask for food trucks. Again, that's something staff has got to work on. More lighting was needed with the large number of people coming into the park that after dark. It didn't help that it was kind of cloudy. We ran out of popcorn. We bought 3 bags this time. Last movie night, we only bought 2 and didn't even go through all of those. So that just tells you the number of people. I think Marvin as a whole needs to evaluate what they are asking for and what they want to do. And that's all of us, staff, council, boards. I heard the comment that we don't want to be Waxhaw, but yet we are creating events as large as Waxhaw, and the park is just not built to handle these type of crowds. If alternate parking locations, shuttles, walking to the event were an option, then we could possibly handle it, but as it stands, we can't. Keep in mind that this park was built with passive recreation in mind, not huge events with what we estimated to be 800 to 1,000 people that night. I've spoken with a few colleagues and park staff, and here are some of the feedback that I've gotten as far as ideas to minimize these issues. A registration or ticketing system limiting the number of participants, time slots, limited advertising, more events, all of the events on one side of the street. We need to investigate if we can park on the big field. It's our understanding that that's the leach field for the septic system, and we're not supposed to drive cars over there.
I think it's actually the backup.
The
'Cause
back, okay. Yeah, the
when-
backup.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so I just need an expert to tell us
Yeah.
how that works. Hiring a parking crew. I saw Waxhaw Saturday night had like a third party directing traffic directors instead of using police officers, probably cheaper than what you got to pay a police officer to work. We've got to get some additional equipment for park staff, vests, flags, the orange traffic wands that go over the flashlights. We'll definitely need additional light towers if that many people are going to be in the park after hours. And again, that's on me as the facilities manager. At one point, Chris counted the cars, and he counted over 350 in the park. And again,
Oh, easily.
85 is what we typically say the parking lot can hold. And just some other parking arrangements. So typically I say that, most negative issues are only seen internally, which is good. I think on this event, a lot of people experience the negative issues because of sitting in the driveway on the street for, multiple minutes, waiting to try to find a parking spot, backing up to let one person out so that they could pull in, not showing up after 7 o'clock and not knowing that there weren't trick-or-treating stations, being disappointed that there wasn't food. Again, a lot of that's on us, so I'm just talking out loud. But there were a lot of people that were very happy. They thought it was awesome and it was a good event. So that's all I got to say for the trick or treat event right now.
One question about the timing. I thought where I saw the time of the event and so forth, that it was kind of broken down and that the movie was designated from 7 to 9.
That was the intention.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
don't think it was clear every.
yeah, I don't think it was clear.
Okay, and some of the communications, it might have been more clear than others, or?
Yeah, I think if third parties like the county and like you said, they advertised it on there, if they just pulled just the banner or something and it said
Mhm.
5 to 9.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
one
that
of
could
the
be.
vendors I was working with. He said, so we're here till 9, and yeah, no, we are not.
Okay, yeah.
So he must have seen that somewhere too. Well, from a vendor perspective, we were ecstatic.
Yeah,
So
and that's on me, like the 5 to 9 thing, like I should have
you just break it up.
caught
into
that,
two.
yeah, very early.
That's easy enough to fix,
Yeah.
but your other points about tickets, I mean, it's easy enough to register people, like on Evite or something like that. It's not, they're still gonna.
But then we have to have,
You have to have somebody checking it.
yeah, you have to have somebody checking
What?
it. I mean, it sounds like
There's
we're
no
kind of a
point in-
victim of our own success here.
That's not the worst thing that ever happened.
No, not at all, but we need to find a way, I mean, if we want to have these community events and we want them to be successful, I mean, we want the people, the vendors are happy if, you get a big crowd.
Yeah.
So we
Well-
just need to figure out a way to accommodate those crowds.
And the problem is that the word of mouth gets around, maybe the last couple of years in events, they've been kind of middling, but we had COVID and everything.
Yeah.
But it seems, we're starting to build each time now because, I think there's a lot that we perceive as negative because we see the things going on, and certainly Derek, but I was doing the popcorn stuff, and people by and large were really excited and happy about the event. I mean, there was a ton going on. The
I didn't even know
parking.
you were there. That's how big it was.
Yeah, I didn't see. We got there and it was time to get going. But the one thing that you mentioned with the 85 spots for cars, I mean, we struggle sometimes with the parking, even with much smaller crowds, whether it's been for the Christmas event, which is coming up very soon. Long ago, when we first opened the park, we had almost no parking spots. So we had an event where we did actually bus people in. We got permission to use, I think it was the firehouse and the school, and we had shuttle buses and things like that, which may make things run a little bit better, but I think the costs were almost like $8,000 to $10,000 just moving people back and forth with the buses, and that was like 15 years ago almost, or 10 years ago. So, that brings into a lot of it is the cost. I mentioned and Derek said, I wonder how much of this was the county participating and broadcasting that communication on their end as well, so were the crowds, as big just because of that, or was it really still mostly, Marvin area folks? And it's a kids event. I'm guessing we got really good exposure in the schools because that's what's always brought out, the kids and parents to an event like that before. So I don't know if anybody has elementary school age kids that saw the communications, but I'm guessing that it got out pretty well that way as well.
I don't know the answer to that question, John, but as I'm sure stressful as Friday was, I feel like it was a very good test for Marvin Day, even though we're not parking there. So this will really spur us on to find alternate parking locations, which I know we're working on for Marvin Day. But I think if we're going to continue to have, I would like to continue to have these nice events that are well attended, and we're going to have to figure out an alternative for parking. So hopefully we'll have, different options that we can. I mean, we're going to have to hire shuttles, or we're going to have to see if we can use like at the fire station where there are overflow parking for the election. And then we can have people directing and people can walk. I mean, that's not a far walk. And if you have, cones set up and like people kind of directing, and for safety wise, but this is a good, kind of test to make sure that we've got our ducks in a row for Marvin Day, because that's how many people are going to be, or more than that are going to be in the park. Now, granted, there aren't going to be the cars there, but this'll, I think, kind of spur on us figuring that out, because we've got to figure something out, because hopefully it's probably not going to be 600 people for the tree lighting, but hopefully it'll be a few hundred people, and we're going to run into the same thing.
One question that's worth considering is how far do we want our advertising to reach? Are we trying to get people from Union County?
No,
and then
I
get-
don't think, I think the answer is no, we're not, but I think it was because Union County Park sponsored the movie, right? Isn't that why they were advertising it?
I don't know. I'm assuming they advertise it. I don't know for sure.
Clearly, we
Could you
don't
find-
need them to.
Could you find
I'm glad
out?
Austin asked that question because, when I was on the board, when I first started, our focus was Marvin.
I agree with that.
Right? Like the schools.
Yep.
We were, sticking flyers in every family's hands. And I think we need to return to that, especially for the tree lighting
I
and
don't-
kind of see,
I don't think anybody disagrees with that,
see how it goes there.
but I would like to find out if the county did advertise. Can you find that out, Derek?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm looking now. to
Okay.
see.
One thing I will say that I generally know how far our advertising is able to reach just from our social media and our email list. If 1,000 people showed up for trick or treat, other people were advertising. Definitely other people were advertising outside of the village.
So I can speak to this a bit too. Because we needed vendors, I did reach out to the Union County Chamber of Commerce and ask them to promote the event to help us get vendors, because that was sort of like a concern. The other thing is it was added to the town planner calendar, which kind of covers this area. But I did notice that certain Facebook groups or pages like Weekly Waxaw and some other things were resharing and reposting our event post on our Village of Marvin page. And I think some other local area Marvin and Waxhaw pages were also kind of resharing it.
Yeah.
So that's potentially why it was far reaching.
and I'm not sure that we can do anything about that. Actually, I know there's not. We're not gonna be
No.
able to, like, if people start doing that, there's nothing we can do. So
And
we
it's
just have to
usually
plan for it.
Seen as a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what you want
organic.
people to do.
That's organic growth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can help by not pulling
No.
in the Chamber of Commerce and not putting it on like Charlotte on the cheap, like we do for Marvin
Yeah.
Day. So
Yeah.
we can help with that. My question was, what was the bathroom situation like, Derek? Was it awful? Like, was the septic able to keep up with all that many people, or was it? I mean, well, I'm just curious. Like, did we run out of toilet paper? Were there bathroom nightmares, or was it fine?
No, it was fine. I mean, the good thing is you had, there was limitations on what people had to do, right? So once they parked, they kind of did everything an hour and a half, 2 hours, probably less than that, probably an hour to an hour and a half, and then they were out. And that was our only saving grace for parking, was that one would leave, another would, as 10 would come in, literally. But yeah, so I got no reports of issues with the bathroom facilities. I mean, literally, the event was great, except for the parking.
So it's just parking.
Yeah.
Parking was our biggest issue,
Yeah.
Access. I mean, it's
Which is
getting to the parking.
which
that
is
was
parking.
the
Yeah.
stressful for humans out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, the driveway runs right down the middle of the park. And so,
So if we have, I mean, to me, and yes, I think we should be advertising to Marvin. We're not gonna be able to help it if extra stuff gets shared and other people come and we have banners up. And with that being said, I think we're gonna have to just shut the park down and just shuttle people in, and we're gonna have to figure that out. I don't think I don't think there's another option.
Okay, this is, I'm sure, a naive question. School buses are not running on Friday evenings at 6 o'clock. Why can't we share those? Is that even a
I don't know what their
possibility?
rules are.
Huh?
I don't know what their
I
rules
don't either,
are.
but they're sitting there. It's an
about that.
unused capacity at that time of day.
Yeah, I think it's a broader thing than that because you don't really see school buses used anywhere
Also,
except for
once-
school things.
Once you start doing
So I
that.
think there's liability issues, maintenance planning issues, all of those other things
Yeah.
where they've got everything so tightly
Tied
controlled
down.
with that.
It was worth asking though,
Yeah.
because they're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
So the question is if we're going to start busing people, I mean, I agree that you're right, that given that the park's capacity, there's just no way to have that many people that we want to attend, even if it's just Marvin parking. If we're going to bus people in, how do we offset those costs? I mean, do we charge it for something like the trick or
that's the
treat?
thing.
I think a small admission fee
That would
would
also
be-
solve some of your capacity issues.
that would solve some of your capacity issue, because then it's not a literal free for all. It would get to the ticketing concept that you were getting to, because then you've paid in advance. It would help offset the cost of,
We
you
would
know.
also know how many people are showing up.
Yes, we can plan ahead. So
Mhm.
for things like, well, National Night Out is supposed to be free, but I was gonna say that would help us plan the number of hot dogs. But
You can never have too
potentially
many.
an admission fee for something like this, but then for something like the tree lighting, we still have a capacity issue, but I don't know that it's legit. I mean, if you're handing out free stuff,
It's
charging an
different.
admission fee is one thing. But for a community event like a tree lighting, how do we offset those costs?
Well, and not only that, but the event and one bouncy house and the playground is there, but really that cost would be in the buses and stuff like that. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I just don't see us charging, then does it become a thing where it's one price for Village of Marvin residents and another price for non-residents,
And how do
then
you prove that?
correct. Because even a trick or treat, I wouldn't necessarily, unless you're getting like a corn maze and all sorts of things, I can't really see people paying for just, picking up candy from vendors,
I mean, if it's a nominal fee, if it's something, like $5 or something, because you're gonna spend $5 on a bag of candy. So $5 to give your kid an opportunity to wear that costume you just spent $75 on one extra time.
Yeah.
Send them around, they can do their thing and, so I mean, I'm not talking a huge entrance fee, but
Yeah.
something to sort of
You could,
gateway.
you could also do the shift thing that you mentioned, so
Yeah.
that you have,
Yeah.
30-minute shifts or something.
I had a long talk with a colleague in another municipality yesterday. They face a similar problem with large events at their park. One of the things he said was obviously the shifts. You could do a 3 to 4:30, and then you do a 5 to 6:30, and try to give yourself a break. You could sell or offer up your limited registration, to 200 people per shift, and then you announce it as sold out. And it's $5 to reserve your spot or something. I think Waxhaw does that with their movie nights when they were doing them at Forest Hills during COVID. Because you've got X amount of parking spots there in the parking lot. It was like a drive-in movie thing. And so so they don't have 1,000 cars showing up. You're paying $5 to reserve a parking spot.
So that's $5 per car, right? So-
Yeah,
So then it
yeah.
becomes a clown car
Mhm.
and you stuff as many people in
Yeah.
there as you can. No, I mean, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
No,
And-
exactly. No, I'm all
Another
for it.
thing that came up that I know we did in the 5K was you push it to the residents first. Like maybe we don't blast it all over social media. Maybe it's just emails to our resident list and our school flyers. And we try to max it out at our residents. And then if other people, friends, extended community show up, and we have a little buffer there.
I think that's a
You
good
know,
idea.
But
My only question with that is, do we have an idea of whether or not if we keep it, if we are keeping it just to the Marvin residents, do we have enough response from Marvin residents? I mean, I think what I'm feeling here is that we're not really sure who was showing up.
well,
And if we have enough do we have enough Marvin residents attending to
Mhm.
attract the vendors that we need? Because we were already kind of short vendors, I feel like.
So
And that's why you had to go to Chamber of Commerce, was to try to,
I mean, I feel like that was more because we got started a little bit late.
okay,
This
Mhm.
being an event that wasn't initially on the calendar when
Gotcha,
when the
okay.
budget was set and the plans were made.
okay,
So, and on the heels of National Night Out and everything else. But
yeah.
to Derek's point, I think if we have a registration system and
Mhm.
we have shifts and there's 200 tickets available and a ticket is like a family or a car, whatever,
Right.
however we want to do it. I think we absolutely could blast that out to the Marvin residents well in advance and give them plenty of time to sign up and take as many of those slots as they want, letting them know, well, Marvin residents, we want you to come and enjoy this event. So reserve your spot and then we could
And
open
then
it up
open
to
it up
the
if that,
community at
yeah.
large after we give them plenty of time. So that should kind of answer that question as a test to
Mhm.
say, well, how responsive are Marvin residents to the things that we're doing? The thing with the schools is they recently switched to like this peach jar system where they want you to pay for flyers to be distributed to families. We don't tend to have that issue with Marvin Elementary School. The principal there is a Marvin resident. He's awesome. He pushes out our stuff without making us pay for it. I don't know that we have the same kind of everywhere else, but
Mhm.
it's worth having those conversations to say, hey, we got a limited budget. We're a municipality. We're trying to do something great for the community. Would you partner with us and put it in your email blast to families and let us bypass Peach Jar to kind of save some money?
Mhm.
And that could help as well to really target Marvin residents, I think.
What type of money are you talking about with?
So for
Sure.
Marvin Day, it cost us $1,500 to send it out 3 times to 13 schools in the area.
Wow.
It's expensive.
It can
Yeah.
get expensive. It depends on how many schools you want to target, how many areas. Now, if you're just doing like literally just Marvin, it's really easy to pop online and get a quote to say, well, how much does it cost just to blast it out to Rayview, Sandy Ridge, Marvin Elementary, Marvin Ridge, Marvin High School, and no one else. It just goes to them. And we can see what we're talking about. But for Marvin Day, we pushed it out far because we wanted a lot of people to come. So
Mhm.
And also keep in mind, to Jill's point, she was trying to recruit vendors.
Exactly.
You
Well, and
know,
that was my concern, is
I
that if
think-
we limit the number of people, do we attract the vendors?
Well, yeah, because they're not going to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to see that we had 800 to 1,000 people come through our event last year.
Mhm.
I was just looking at the calendar and, if we do it again, potentially, we could look at it on Saturday or as like an all-day thing, or even a Friday, Saturday combo.
that's
Just
not a
some-
bad idea because Saturday is going to be Waxhaw's Fright Night and it draws a huge crowd. So normally I would say I don't want to compete with Waxhaw, but it sounds like for this, we probably do because if Waxhaw's having an event and they can keep the Waxhaw people down there, that could help reduce the number of people outside of Marvin coming to our event if it's the same day.
Or if you had it earlier in the day, like say theirs starts at 7 or 8 or whatever, and you have yours earlier than that, and people can, if you got your outfit on, you can just go on down the street and keep playing, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you get the younger kids at the park and the bigger
I mean,
Tyrannosaurus Rex
it's
kids.
an idea for sure.
Yeah.
I think I have to figure out what time Waxhaw starts. I thought it was I think it started fairly.
The kids portion is like 4 to 7.
Oh, okay,
And then they
okay.
shut it down for the adults from 7 to 10. We
But
went,
they
Kids
visit all
really
the
do.
different businesses. They go trick or treating at the
Yeah,
different businesses, which is fun.
we went to it and it was not that good. It was much better in years past.
Hmm.
So I don't know if, people will look for alternatives or if it's going to be like everything in Waxhaw, and it just keeps getting bigger.
Well, the one thing about having it this year on Friday, most of the things that were Halloween related were Saturday. So this was like one of the few things that I knew about that was going on Friday. So we maybe got all the focus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are we good with that? Like, Derek, do you want to compete with Fright Night or not? Like, I think it would help.
As a general, like, professional courtesy, we try not to compete with each other
Okay.
within the county. However, she might appreciate that in some sense if our target is Marvin.
Right.
You know, like, I don't think Waxhaw is going to take a hit on their event.
No.
I mean, the amount of people that go to Waxhaw events is insane. And she looked super stressed, like she could not handle the amount of traffic that they had. No, her boss, Dina.
Okay, and so we're also talking about, shuttles and things like that. Is there any possibility, I don't have a map in front of me or whatever, and this is obviously a much bigger long-term solution. Is there any possibility of acquiring a parking lot adjacent to the park?
Is what?
Is there any possibility of acquiring some kind of parking lot adjacent to the park?
There's
Is there
none.
any land around there that's,
The fire
The only
station.
piece is on the other side of the fire station,
Yeah.
which is part of a far larger piece of
parcel?
property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They use it for overflow parking for voting normally.
Do you want to cap this discussion or do you, any more notes or, I mean, it's y'all's board meeting, so.
Yeah, no,
I'm here all day.
Well, that's the other thing though, too, is that, okay, even if we were to do a shuttle, is it, the school is the natural place, but would they allow that, you know? Because we've had,
Well, the game was at Weddington this year, so it's going to be at Marvin next year.
well, that's what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
even so, there's all sorts of, you know, challenges that you're gonna have with Friday nights or
Why
even
don't-
Saturdays.
Why
with
don't we
middle
use,
schools,
why don't we
high
try to use
schools.
the elementary school and Village Hall?
And get them from there to the park.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because elementary school is not gonna,
yeah,
Have football.
elementary school typically.
and we have, what do we have, 60-some spots here? 50-some spots here?
Do we have to do it at the park?
Where else are we gonna do it?
What if we did it here and then use the elementary school, like the parking lot? I'm just,
Yeah,
listen, I'm brainstorming, you know?
well, and I think though, as much as anything, the trick or treating, the playground is the focus of all the attention at that event.
Yeah, there were a lot. I mean, the playground was
I mean, it was
busy
overrun.
all through the night, like
field
through
was
the movie,
full.
through the movie, the playground. And honestly, I don't like people being on the playground equipment after dark.
After dark, yeah.
Mhm.
You know, the last movie night, I ran them off because it was like 6 of them. I mean, it was like 30 families this time. I couldn't run them off.
Yeah,
Well, so you guys, I mean, I can't speak to, once the movie started, and well, actually, once the bounce house was kaput, and that was like 7 o'clock, an alarm went off and poof, the air was gone. Then the field cleared out, but until then, we were packed over there.
yeah.
It was bizarre, because there was nothing but standing in line for candy. It was
Yeah.
kind of weird. But there were plenty of them over there too, and nothing to do, really.
So can
Exactly.
I just ask, since this is, like your next meeting is going to be a few days before the tree lighting, do we need to address shuttles and parking before the tree lighting? And does that need to be addressed with this board, or can you and I and Christina address that based on some of what happened with trick or treat?
I think we can curb our advertising to, you know, narrow our focus. We've had tree lightings that have been pretty packed. We've never seen that, what happened the other night, obviously. And a tree lighting in itself does not scream come get free candy, you know?
No,
like,
yeah, it's very different.
It's a different crowd, you know, Santa draws in some people, but Santa he makes a lot of visits around town, so, I don't think so. Do you-
Yeah, I think we continue to kind of limit it, the distribution, promoting the Christmas, the tree lighting event. But, you know, certainly I think the schools are still the best way to kind of do that. So if you want to get a better understanding of that list, you know, really it's just Rayview, Marvin, and, Sandy Ridge, you know, to advertise, to find out what it is, because that's really our target market. And even the larger ones, I think parents tend to focus more to their elementary school newsletters that are coming than once their kids are in high school and they expect the older kids to be more up to date on stuff. But I think the other thing we want to do is at least start to have those conversations about using either elementary schools or high school for parking overflow for events, and just what that entails. I'm sure there's probably a fee involved, you know, just as there was for, you know, Marvin Day for any use of their facilities. But let's at least do some of the groundwork on that to at least know that what we're dealing with, because those are really the only other places we have. I mean, even if you consider this on top of what parking we have there, you're not talking about a substantially large number of spots that we're gaining to even be worth shuttling back and forth.
Do you want a registration, like an Eventbrite for the tree lighting?
I don't think so, because typically this event draws in some more adults. You know, wouldn't you say so? Like there's a kid's aspect to the cookies and taking a picture with Santa, but a lot of times they're connected with
The
adults in the community
performers,
that are kind of have a lot of connections with either council or board, and it's typically a different crowd.
I mean, I think if we're not having specific kids events like bounce house and
right.
stuff like that, I don't think we're gonna get as many people, but I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong before.
Are we willing to just let the tree lighting thing go as planned and let it be like our third thing on the list? And if it goes crazy too, then we know we've got something we were gonna have to deal with every single time.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tree lighting. They'll get over it, right? I mean, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. They can come look at it later if it's a line down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Me too.
fine with that.
Yeah.
But I think that as we continue to do events and as we're looking, you know, at the master plan, we know that that's for the parks, then that's something we're gonna have to keep in mind.
Bus is what we need.
Marvin bus.
Marvin bus, yes.
And that being said, with, just kind of throwing in the tree lighting event as well, I've definitely heard back from the choir group, the high school choir. So who should I coordinate as far as schedule's concerned?
Me.
Okay.
They're in.
Yeah, the high school choir's in. And
All right, do we
think-
want to transition? Are we good to transition to tree lighting?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you need something else from us for the trick or treat.
No, it was just a list of feedback.
Yeah.
All right, so music, I have the high school choir. The IB program was interested in performing. They did a fundraiser at the park earlier in the year and did music and said they would love to do Christmas music too at the tree lighting ceremony. Santa's reserved. The parade is scheduled. Santa has a new driver this year. Pray for him.
I think someone
That's
was.
me. That's me.
I think someone was gonna check with Joe to check about the band, because the band has typically been there.
Yes, I think that's on me. We have the dog kissing booth. We'll be back. The library will be there. We just had a vendor. What, do you want to tell them about the cookie station?
I'm good. Okay. So, Southern Gourmet has offered to have like a cookie decorating station. So they're going to show up with tons of, I don't know, tons. They're going to show up with cookies that they baked, and they're going to have icing and toppings, sprinkles, whatever. And I mean, I'm a little nervous about how messy that can get, but whatever.
I was gonna say, where are we gonna
It is what it is.
set that up, like out in the grass with some tents?
I think it's
Probably on
not
the
in
patio. It's on the patio.
Okay.
I think, maybe some patio and grass. Yeah, away from the barn.
So that's kind of neat.
It can be sprayed down real easy.
We're trying to figure out if we can get a local business to sponsor like the coffee and hot chocolate. So we have a couple of things in the works.
I mean, we're not gonna use our 8,000 Keurig machines we have.
I do have a photographer that's willing to come for free, like we did at the trick or treat event, and she's willing to take photos. Christina and I briefly chatted about possibly renting one of those like inflatable snow globes where the family stands inside it and a photographer can take your picture in it. It's kind of neat. I don't know if you guys have seen those at like churches at Christmas time.
It's probably better than the ice sculpture.
But it's going to be an expense that we honestly probably don't need because the dog kissing booth is kind of cute enough. So if I mean, it would be cute and novelty, but if we want to save some money, we could just have the photographer take pictures at the dog kissing booth. But anyway, she wants to come, so that's kind of fun.
Actually, the barn is nice enough to, if you, I mean, we decorate it just a little bit and you stand in front of a certain area, it was not look bad.
Front of
A
the
lot of people
tree.
got
Front of the
all dressed
tree.
up and stuff last year. They were really cute. So they're kind of cute enough, right? Just something to think about. No ice. That's awesome. This is how much stressed I have been all year.
No ice.
It was clearly very.
It was just it was just pouring water.
It was like 74 degrees too.
It was so warm. I'm like,
Derek, I did have that we were going to have a craft. I had that we were having crafts, but I don't know what that looks like or what.
I think the cookies are the crafts.
That's what I was wondering. Do we have a Christmas craft?
You don't want to do, I mean, I think we do something simple.
Super
I
simple,
think
scatter a
alone.
whole bunch of coloring book pages, like the photocopied.
Like
Yeah,
we
I
did
mean-
at trick or treat?
pages, and whole crayons.
That's what we
Yeah,
did.
that was
That's what we
going
did
big.
Friday night.
Yeah, my kids, when we were little, this was in California, but we used to always go to a particular Christmas thing, and that was the Sorry. That was the activity, while the kids were waiting to see Santa. All these picnic tables in one of the, areas were covered with the coloring book things, and even my kids into their teens would still.
I'd still be over there.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of like ornament making stations,
Yeah.
so they can take something home and hang it up. And
Mhm.
I don't know how much those
I think we've gotten them from
Oriental trading.
Oriental Trading, yeah.
felt
Yeah,
things
that-
were.
That
Or a
whole
letters
order-
to Santa station and a mailbox.
Oh, that's too cute. I can't stop. That is so cute,
A
Jen.
letter writing station.
Okay, well, so
That's cool.
we've had the box, we have the box there, but I don't know how that works when he's there too. Like, do you have to
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
in
Well,
the box?
you leave it there for him to see later, because, he
Okay.
can't.
He needs notes.
I know, but that's tough though, because then like the mom and dad don't see the letter that the kid drops in the mailbox. And then it's like, why didn't I get that
What are you
Lego
talking
set?
about?
Just make sure they proofread it before they send it.
True. Yeah, so the crafts that I ordered for the trick or treat event were just like easy stick on, make a bat, cat, pumpkin, whatever. They do have really easy, cheap, fun ornament making type of stuff as well. And it wasn't that much. It was like $180. And I think I ordered like, I don't know, 250 of them. So it's pretty affordable. I can do more of those. I just need a number. And then we'll have coloring sheets as a backup in case we run out. Did we run out? I'm assuming we ran out. I was actually nervous to see you all. I was like, he's going to hate me for this event.
Nobody hates anybody. No.
Less stress, less stress.
Listen, I'd be more stressed if like 2 people showed up.
Amen.
I mean, sorry, Derek. You could have called. I'd have been out there directing traffic for you. I'd have shown up. But you said I didn't have to be there.
You missed it. It was highly.
Apparently.
Apparently.
All right, tree lighting, we good? Derek, you're gonna let me know where I need to be, when I need to be there
Yes.
for Santa?
Yeah.
Is Austin gonna dress up as the elf and ride in the back seat?
Oh, dear Lord.
I think so. I think you just volunteered him.
Rohit did a couple of years
Yes, he
ago.
did.
He was the, yes, he
Yes,
did.
he did.
You give me the costume as
Oh,
long
well,
as
Hunter, do it.
it's form fitting.
Hold on, let's volunteer Hunter since he's not in here. Yes, okay, we volunteered Hunter. He's gonna do it. The planner, that's the planner's job.
no. Oh, no.
This is why you don't.
I need somebody else in the car with me besides me and Santa. I'm just gonna throw that out there, so. Get ready, Austin. Or Hunter, one of the two of you.
Somebody's got to hold the map and,
Seriously, I don't know where to
navigate.
go. Well, no, because the fire truck's gonna be in front, right? I just have to follow the fire truck,
I'll go
right?
with
There
you,
you
Kim.
go.
I'll do it.
Or do
Yeah.
I lead?
No, you're next to last, right?
I
Because,
don't know.
yeah, Santa's the
Mhm.
main
Okay,
attraction.
so I
He's
just have to
last.
follow whoever, okay.
You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Look at your big
Yeah.
stash. Can you wear a big stash that says Mayor Pro Tem? So
Maybe, I might wear
It
my
says
pink
Mayor
hard
Pro
hat.
Kim on it.
I need something. I'm gonna need a Santa hat with Mayor Pro Kim on there. Yeah, Derek finds me not entertaining at all. Okay, Derek, what's next?
Derek, if you need any of us for that event, you'll let us know, right?
Yes, please.
Please, please.
Please plan on it.
We need you. Let's just say it. We need you.
Since he gave me the day off
Then
on
tell me
Friday,
when.
that's never gonna happen
Tell me
again.
what time, because right now I have it from 4 to 6. And if you need something earlier than that, I need to know.
It's funny, Christina just sent out an email to the whole staff, reminding them of the tree lighting event and her expectation that all staff are present and ready to work from 2 until otherwise.
In
Perfect.
costume.
In costume. Derek, can you reply all in costume?
No, in costume. Are we, is it themed? Like, are we
No.
like
Christmas.
Christmas pajamas?
Sure. I don't care. I have a nice red sweater unless it's 75 degrees out. It's gonna be cold.
Anything else,
What if it's
Derek,
cold
on
and
that?
raining? What am I gonna do?
Cold is it?
Christmas poncho.
Uh,
Warm pajamas.
Flannel.
Nothing else on that.
Oh, yeah, but no, I'm good. Yeah.
The only thing I will say, let's see, for update is that the ball is rolling with McAdams. They had an incredible turnout at the park as one of their public input meetings. So they got tons of feedback there, and the survey is created and ready to be distributed. I think we'll leave that out for a month or two before.
Do we have do we have another meeting? Like
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know exactly the date, but there'll be many meetings. Not many, but
before the survey's
a
done?
a handful more. I don't
Or are
know.
we thinking like January?
I was thinking December was the next one,
Okay.
but I'll have to look in my
I'll look at the
McAdams
calendar.
file.
I have, yeah,
So-
okay.
I'm done with that.
All right, you're done with that, but C, unfinished business. The first item is discussion of wildlife mitigation, so you're back.
Oh, here we
Yeah.
go.
So obviously, I brought up the issue of the bats and the proposed mitigation at the last meeting, and took your questions to the bat expert, and some pretty good answers, I think, from what you guys were looking for. So you had asked if when they're extracted, are they killed? And no, the bats are protected and cannot be harmed in any way. Extraction or eviction are the only techniques used to remove the bats from structures. Certified wildlife control agents are aware of these laws. Extraction means to gently flush, and eviction means to allow the bats to remove themselves through bat eviction devices. They're nocturnal, therefore if the structure is properly closed at twilight, then bats will not have the opportunity to enter the structure, even if it's closed. The barn door brushes would prevent the bats from using the tracks as a roosting location. And then the audible and electronic deterrents typically show no sign of long-term effectiveness. Spike strips are typically just used for large nesting birds. So I think what we've seen is that the problem is not as prevalent as it was. It was kind of a cycle. I wouldn't be opposed to the brushes in the tracks just to prevent them from coming back in there or anything else at that, with that matter. But we can do a wait and see, or we can, do ask council for money and go ahead and patch it up as much as possible.
How long has the barn been there? Like 10 years?
10 years.
Yeah,
Have we ever had any issues with bats and people like,
not to this extent. I mean, they've been in there plenty of times, I mean, I pulled one off the wall one time for, there was like a kids event. And, I mean, he was just hanging out on the wall and all the kids are like, oh, look, there's a bat,
How much would the brushes in the tracks cost?
I don't remember.
That seems like a fair thing to put it so that you don't have to squash another one.
oh,
Yeah, sorry, I had to bring that back up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in their best interest, the bat's best interest, really, and yours for that matter. 'cause that's
if we take a survey of the bats, they would say that that would be in
the
their
but
best
surveys,
interest.
yeah, the bats are like,
Yeah,
please.
they may
put-
not be excited about the other things, but.
It's not itemized in this quote. It
Yeah, but I
just-
mean, but spending money to try to close up a building that's pretty wide open, that just seems
Agree with that.
crazy. So I like the brushes so that we keep from squashing another one, and then say bats live here and they're very cool. Yay. And we'll have
I
another
mean,
bat
have
talk.
the bats basically gone away? Like, is that why everybody's kind of like, oh, it's not that?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, they sort of moved on. Or, I mean, I don't know what bats do.
I don't
But-
either.
Yeah, they could come back.
I
I
don't
think
know.
the brushes are
Yeah.
definitely a worthwhile
I do too.
investment. The rest of it, I think I would table until we
But we
see
have the
another problem.
information.
Yep.
We have the
Yeah.
information, and if we need to execute if we need to move on the plan, then we can, because we will do not.
Better choice of
Yes,
word.
sorry.
All right, so I'll find out how much the brushes are, and if it's a significant amount, you guys are recommending to council to
Do the brushes.
appropriate that money for that?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
And
Thank-
Marsh can do a bat talk whenever you think the community's ready.
Didn't y'all do one?
Yeah, we did,
Yeah.
but we've
Doing
had.
It was like last Halloween.
Yeah, we've had requests to do it again and she's available, so.
It was
Gotcha.
great too.
Time appropriate.
Thanks.
All right, next item, C2 is Friendship Tree update. Austin?
All right, so I'm going to keep this very brief. As you can see from the lobby, the tree is up. The
You're
tags are on there.
And it's beautiful.
You're welcome.
It is
It
beautiful. And the tags are beautiful.
Yeah, the tags are awesome.
I thank Jill for the beautiful tag. She's a superhero.
They look nice.
We've already had two children have already been sponsored for this holiday season. I've got commitments from 2 more people.
Christina, that's 6.
Oh. You already fill out the forms and everything?
She has.
They're kind of.
See, I don't even have to chase you down. That's great.
I know.
I'm sure I'll get at least a kid out of Kim over there.
I thought I was going to get a whole family, so you'll probably get a couple of kids out of me.
That's fine. I've already told Bob he's on vacation this week, but we're gonna run out of kids and we're gonna have to go back and get more tags. And
Right.
it's-
I just had a friend text me, hey, are the tags up? We want to come in. So
So Marvin's very blessed, and I think we're gonna be able to do a lot for children this holiday season. So
And I would suggest that we all send this out to our HOA, forget the president people, just send it to them and say, it's right here, go.
the HOAs that were present at the last HOA President's Council meeting were all very and thrilled about it. So
I'm
yeah.
sure. But it can't hurt to
send
hear
it out
twice.
again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
cool.
now that the tags are up,
Mhm.
because I haven't seen anything come through my neighborhood.
Well, Amy was just here yesterday. so
Yeah, I
she's
know
got
she
stuff.
was, but doesn't mean that it hasn't come through yet. So I would send out another email and be like, the tags are up, send it out.
Logistics question, if those tags are going by this afternoon, which they well could be,
Jill,
how fast can you get with names?
We have to we have to go back to the Union County.
48 hours. Oh, I thought it was quicker than that.
We have to go back to the Christmas Bureau and they have to generate another list for us. We've decided to only sponsor children from infants to age 14. That's kind of our scope. So the Christmas Bureau has told us they need 48 hours to turn around and re-list. So, you know,
As soon as we get down to like maybe less than
5,
10,
yeah.
we'll trigger that process.
Good. And then if somebody comes by, you can just take their name and say, as soon as I've got some, I will let you know.
And I had a couple people reach out to me before we even started saying, hey, I want to do this. Can you just let me know when you got the tags in? And that's what we've already been doing. So.
I mean, I'm going to pull a couple. So we're going to be down to under 10, right? Because you had 4
We've
gone.
got 6 gone. We're down to 14 already, so,
I think we go ahead and pull that trigger. Yeah.
yeah. we
I'd
can
go ahead and pull the trigger because we're going to have more. Yeah.
And I just changed the, the banner photo on the Village of Marvin Facebook page to talk about the tree, that it's up, that the tags are
Perfect.
ready to go. So hopefully our residents that follow the page will see that and start popping in.
Perfect. Love it.
Yay. That's awesome. And the information is good too, and the directions and everything. That's great. It's very clear.
Any volunteers to open up your homes or garages to store bikes and presents for the next month? Anyone? Don't all offer at once.
I mean, you can use my house.
Just kidding. We'll figure it out. We'll have plenty of room here, I think. We'll turn the community room into a big giant gift closet.
Well, you do have that big
Just
back
close the shades.
Yeah.
Close the shades, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Anything else for Friendship Tree, Austin?
That's all I got.
It's awesome.
Okay, no new business today. Item E, review of action items.
We're going to get more tags. Derek has his marching orders for the bats. And we've got a lot of event planning to do. That's really it. Nothing.
And Jill's ordering Christmas crafts.
All right. Review of ongoing action item list.
I'm ready, Kim.
I'm looking. I'd say you can complete the bats at the barn.
Okay, we'll take that off.
Besides that, I think we're good.
All right. I'm good there.
All right, moving on to board member comments. Jennifer? Anything?
Nope. Just
No.
No, I don't have anything except that next time we meet, I will have a landscape plan for the village here. So
Okay.
it's close. I just didn't have it in time to get it in for this meeting. So.
No, just excited about all the stuff we're doing.
All right, and I'm good as well. So do I hear a motion on the table to adjourn the Village of Marvin Parks Recreation and Board Greenways meeting here on November 1st at 10 a.m.?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Ciao.
Adjourn.
I'm gonna go just like one of my kids because I don't understand what she wants.
You're like I catch a wave with that one enough.
It's funny, every kid is asking for the same toy. It's called Coco. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's like a YouTube.
I was to say I know the word, I know the show, but I don't know what the toy
I
is.
don't know what this toy is, but it's on like everyone's list.
So it's like this year's Teddy